What we really want to do here is find out of the entire, I guess you could say, target, which I would consider this whole line segment here. There are certain areas, for example, from D to E is an area I could hit. Okay, my kid's got one of those little dart guns, those Nerf ones. You know, I was going to bring that today and see if I could hit stuff. That's what I forgot. So, but I was going to sit there and maybe try and hit DE, see if I could do it. I probably would miss, but that'd be all right. And we're going to try and find out, is DE a huge percentage of the whole target, which is DI? No, not really. So is it very probable that I would hit from D to E? No. Now, if I said try and hit from D to H, that's much more probable. That would probably happen much more frequently than hitting D to E, correct? And that's all the word probability means. Is it probable? Do you think it's probably going to happen? Okay, yeah, more than likely it would hit the floor or something when I got done with it. But let's just take a look. And a lot of people struggle on these because I kind of consider this as being 1 unit wide, right? That's also 1 unit wide. So how many total units am I trying to hit here? What's my entire target? Well, there's another one. What are we looking at here for total is always something you want to figure out first. So what's the total area of this target? I would say, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Would you consider there are 9 sections up there? And what I think of is I always put that, whenever I do probability, I think of it as a fraction. There are 9 locations I can hit. Again, we are making the huge assumption that I would actually hit the target. All right? And so if I was trying to hit from E to F, well, does that count as hitting from E to F? If I hit that particular area right there, it does, doesn't it? Would this one also count? So how many of the areas actually would count to being, I guess you could say, successful in doing what I wanted to do? 2 of them would be successful, correct? And that's how I look at probability. It's the number of ways of being successful over the total places you could hit or total ways it could be done. And I could hit any of those 9 regions. Only 2 of them would get me what I wanted to have happen. So do you believe that to be very probable? They're saying if I sat back there and did it 9 times, they're saying I would probably, again, it's taking skill out of it completely, I would probably hit that area only twice. Okay, that's probability. Now, does 2 over 9, does that simplify as a fraction at all? No. Now, some people always ask, is it okay then if I write the answer like that? Is it okay to write probability that way? That's fine, okay? I just like to do the fraction method. That's how I do it. So how about if we started all over and we said, how about hitting from D to F? Is it going to be more probable or less probable than A? Why is it more probable than A? More area to actually be successful, right? Because is it still 9 sections, though, that I can hit? Yeah. And now to be successful, does that count as being successful? Does that one? Yeah. That one? How about this one here, this next one? No, that doesn't count as being successful, does it? So I have 3 areas that would be successful. But unfortunately, I'm not going to allow you to leave the answer for that particular one that way, because I want you to simplify that one. And this one simplifies to 1/3. Again, what that means is if I sat back there and I tried this 3 times, I would probably hit that area 1. But obviously, if somebody's very skilled back there, does that throw off those numbers? Definitely. But probability throws skill out the window, has nothing to do with it. Okay. How about Fi? More probable or less? More probable for Fi. And how many from F to I? 6 of them, if you count them. 6. Acceptable? No. The correct answer should be? So do you understand that this one's actually twice as probable as letter B? Okay. Or 3 times as probable as A. Okay. Let's try HE right now on your own. And then I have a letter E that we're going to do together. We'll have to add that one in there. I think we all agree that 9 should still be how many total areas I could hit here. And then from H to E, well, how many did you count? Is it once again 6? Is it? Okay. And so once again, it would be 2/3. Or if I did it 3 times, I would probably hit it in there twice. Okay. The one I want, and probably just put E at the bottom there, I'm probably going to write it up here just so you can all see it, but you might want to write it at the bottom. You might get confused if you see it up here on your notes. Does that make sense? I'm going to say it is most definitely on DI. So I'm telling you for a fact I hit the target. But closer to F than H. Once you actually do one of these, the wording seems less confusing than maybe it does right now. So again, on DI, so I'm telling you, I most definitely actually hit the target when I tried this. But the place I hit was closer to F than it was to H. So what I'm going to do is get all this erased here, and I'll show you how I would probably approach this problem. What I would do is go through each segment and decide, is it actually closer to F than it is to H or not? For example, this segment right there, let's say I hit it in there. Is that segment right there closer to F than it is to H? Well, yeah, F is right here and H is all the way over there. So is that segment most definitely closer? Yeah, how about this second segment? Is that counts? That one counts. How about this next one? Yep, that one's closer. This next one? Yeah, because that's only 2 away, right? How about this one? Is this closer to F than it is to H? So that's a no, and I think we kind of all understand that the rest of these have to pretty much be no, right? They're not closer to F than they are to H. So if I was standing back there, how many ways could I be successful here? How many of the regions could I hit to be successful? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 out of, again, 9. Okay. So any questions on the wording there or what that means? Okay. So any questions on that type? Let's see how we're doing on time. This next type is actually your bullseye. And this does tend to possibly confuse people. I'm not sure if it's how I teach it or just the way it comes about. But what I would suggest is why don't we just go ahead and find the area of each circle first and then go from there. Okay, so there is circle A. We are told that the radius of that circle is 2 inches. So let's find the area. And I would strongly recommend, do you agree that all the objects we're dealing with here are going to be circles of some kind, right? And will they all then possibly have pi in their answer? Yeah, remember the other day when some had pi, some didn't, so we just went decimal? Well, if all of our answers are going to have pi involved, let's leave our answers with pi. Why not? Okay, so so we're saying that this circle right here, if I went from there to there, is how much? 2 inches. So if you remember the area of a circle, what's that formula again? It's been a weekend, who knows? Pi r squared, very good. And so r is how much in this one? It's 2, so you take 2 square it is. So this is 4 pi square inches is circle A. Do you agree? Are you with me on that? And I'm just going to leave it as 4 pi. I'm not going to multiply the pi out because all my answers are going to have pi in it. So let's just leave it that way. Why get all these decimals I got to write down and then round and all of that stuff? Okay, so now we're saying B is how much? 5 inches of a radius? Yours doesn't work that way? Yeah, that's tough. So circle B has 5 inches. And so if I put 5 in there, what's the area for B is? (25 pi square inches). And here's C, which is apparently really big compared to the other ones. 10 inches, and so it is 100 pi square inches. But why is this a little bit harder than that? Well, do you agree that this circle C that you see right here, pretty much before I move stuff, made up the entire target? That's how big the target is, right? 100 pi. No matter how you look at it, that's how big the target is. All right. And so what we do, though, is to find these, it gets a little bit more complicated than that. So we're going to put them back. Because the problem is, can I actually hit all of circle A? Is that a circle I can actually hit every single spot in that circle? I can I? So the probability for that area is, well, that's 4 pi. So if we're doing just A, that's actually pretty much the easiest one. A, so circle A, we know the area of that circle is 4 pi, correct? You agree with me on that? That's what we just figured out? What's the area of the entire target? That's pretty much what circle C is, isn't it? 100 pi. So I want to hit 4 pi out of 100 pi. Does that seem like that's going to be very probable? That's not much, is it? Now you may also notice why I left the pi in there. They cancel out now. Because I knew they were all going to have pi, and so boom, gone, and that's why I left it in there. So they're saying if I did it 100 times, I would only hit area A how many times? Probably would only hit it 4 times. That's not very good. Am I going to allow you to leave that probability as 4 over 100, though? No. You're going to have to write it as 1 over 25. So in other words, if I did it 25 times, I would probably only hit it once. Okay. Now let's face it, normally if you hit the center a couple times, you probably hit it a couple times in a row and then you get off again. So does it happen every 25 you hit it once? No, they're saying over time, that's probably what would happen. But I could hit it 4 times right in a row. Okay, that's where probability gets kind of interesting. So yeah, area A, I can hit that whole thing. Can I actually hit all of area B, or is some of area B kind of covered up? Some of it's covered up. But do you agree that area B is 25 pi? And the part of it that's covered up, very good. Part of it that's covered up is 4 pi, right? That's the part I can't hit of B. And somebody just told me that would be 21 pi. Does everybody see where they're getting at? They're taking the 25 pi, subtracting out the 4, because what they're doing is they're saying, I can't hit behind there. And that's part of circle B. Remember when I had it separated? And so what I was just told is that basically green circle, and inside a circle there, it's actually called an annulus, if you want to know, is actually 21 pi. So for B, it's 21 pi. Very good, because we took the 25 pi and subtracted 4 pi. And has the target changed size since we did the last one? Is the target still 100 pi? Yeah. And once again, you're noticing why I didn't even bother with those pi's. But I looked at it and said, wait a minute, if they're all going to have pi in the answer, why mess with that? Can we simplify 21 over pi? No. So is that more probable or less probable than hitting A? Much more probable. Okay. Now letter C, there is actually several ways you can do C. And we'll see what you come up with. So we'll just call B as 21 over 100. We know the target's 100 pi because we figured that out. But I can't hit all of circle C. I can basically hit all of circle C minus those other 2, right? But you got to be careful. Some people subtract the 25 pi and then they subtract the 4 pi as well. But do you agree that basically it's just the blue one minus the entire green one? So it would be 100 pi minus just the 25 pi, which leaves me with 75, and I don't know where that's going. There we go. 75 pi. So 75 out of 100 reduces to 3/4. So they're saying I'm most probable to hit which region? The blue by a big margin. Okay. Does anybody see the other way you possibly could have looked at that particular answer? Could you look at answer A and B and kind of figure out C rather easily? Well, A was 4 out of 100, B was 21 out of 100. I told you I hit the target, so isn't there only 75 out of the 100 left? Okay, so you could have probably looked at it that way as well. Do you have any questions about that one? Because historically, this is one that gets people confused. I think maybe taking the circles apart like I did this year might have helped. Okay, I know you can't do that on your paper, but maybe if we get those iPads, we'll see what happens.